let's talk about our resource of people. And yes, people are a resource, at least they can be. And we're not talking about like a resource that you use. Like, we don't use people, but they tend to contribute to our lives in different ways. And so if you think about all of the people that contribute to your life on a regular basis, you start to really understand that we were not made to be solitary creatures. You think about all of the things that you use on a daily basis that you had nothing to do with. You didn't invent them, you didn't create them, you didn't manufacture them. You might have went to the store and purchased them, or someone might have delivered them to your house. But you think about, the food you eat, the clothes you wear. I know there are people that are self-sustaining. There's a lot of work that goes into being that way. But people can be a resource in many ways. And relationships are a resource. They actually improve our life. And these are just a few of the ways. Oops, I went too far. These are just a few of the ways that they do. They help reduce our stress. Now, I know you might say, well, I know a lot of people that increase my stress. And that may be true. And that's why we're going to talk about this thing called relationships, because it can be complicated, right? It can be very hard to navigate and hard to know how to deal with. And so I just want to give you a few things that might shift your perspective a little bit and help you to filter out and learn to be better at boundaries, because boundaries are a very important piece of relationships. I think we overlook that many, many times, and we will talk about that in the next lesson. But you can create relationships and dynamics in your life where people are reducing your stress and not increasing it. Also improves your mental health. There's a lower rate of depression and anxiety. This says in committed relationships. This is sort of a graphic for couples, but this can apply not just to a love type relationship, but also to, friendships, close friendships, best friendships, family that you're really close to, because you have that emotional support and you have that person, those safe people in your life that you can you just enjoy time with. Physically, they can improve our relationships. People can, because we can end up in physical activity with other people. And it's not a lot of fun to go out and play, by yourself. When children are growing up, they want other kids to play with. It's more fun for them to have siblings. Being alone all the time is not how we were created. Even the most introverted of us, which, I tend to think of myself as I definitely get my energy from being by myself, and I enjoy that time. I enjoy that time alone. I think part of it's because I feel so much pressure when there's other people around. And some of those things that I have to work on, like the people pleasing and the expectations of others and taking on others' emotions and all of that. We'll talk about that in boundaries. But I really do get my energy from being alone, but there's only so much alone time you can have before you're like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to somebody, or I need to go see somebody, or I need to spend some time with somebody, or I just need somebody around me. Sometimes I'll just drive to town to get around people and just feel like I belong to the human race. So, physical activity can be increased when we're in relationships with others. My boys on a regular basis go out and play pickleball. It's like the newest thing now is pickleball. They're constantly saying, we're going to play pickleball, and they'll go play with their friends at, a park or whatever. They get so much physical activity that way. So when we talk about relationships, when we talk about people and making people a resource, making people something positive, investment into our lives instead of a negative, we need to choose wisely. We need to choose our friends wisely. We need to really think and be intentional about what we want to become, because we will become the people that we hang around the most, right? You just tend to take on the mannerisms and everything of people that you're around. It's the funniest thing to me. We have adopted children from China, all the way on the other side of the world, and they have no DNA that belongs to us. Like, they didn't get any of their traits, their personalities, anything from us, but they tend to do things that remind me of my other children. They take on their mannerisms, and I've seen this so many times in adoptive families where, even a look on the face or an expression, the way that they move their body, that kind of thing. I'm just like, oh my goodness, they remind me so much of their, adoptive parent. And it's not a physical thing. It's just something that they've taken on because they're around that person so much. And that's what happens to us. The people that we are around the most are the people that are going to influence us the most. And that can be good or that can be bad. So we need to make that choice and be intentional about that. I know we don't always have a choice. We are born into a family, right? So we are born into the family we're in, and we don't really get to pick that or choose that. Even in adoption, we didn't get to choose our children. It was kind of like we got these referrals and then we had to say yes or no. I guess we could have said no and got another one, but it's not like we went over and picked them out and said, these are the ones we want. You don't really get to choose your family, but you do get to choose how you interact with your family, right? As you grow up to have more agency and to become an adult, you get to choose how much time you spend around people. You get to choose how much of your care and your heart that you give to them. You get to choose if you guard yourself or if you're able to be free with them, how much information you give them. You get to choose all of those things. And I think that sometimes we tend to believe that just because someone is born and born into the same family and we share blood with them, that they just get a free pass. Like, they get to say to us whatever they want. They get to do to us whatever they want. They get to, have us around as much as they want because they're family. We're going to take that on. We need to give to them as much as they want. And I just don't believe that's true. As a matter of fact, I was raised in a very dysfunctional family in many, many ways. And I've had to wrestle with this over the years. And that was my belief at first, is that they're family. There's nothing I can do. I just need to, be the best that I can be and whatever. But the problem was I was with the toxicity that was in my life because of the situations and all of that. I was not able to become the person that I wanted to be or that I needed to be, even for my children. So until I got some separation, until I put up some really strong boundaries in different areas, I couldn't become healthy. I could not become a healthy person. And I think many times when we grow up in a dysfunctional environment, dysfunctional family, we tend to become very dysfunctional ourselves. And we have to learn those things that can create health. And as we do that, if our family wants to stay the same, that in that same dysfunction, there's not a lot that we can do to pull them out of that, because we're responsible for us, but we're not responsible for them. And we're in control over us, but we're not in control over them. So that's many of the things that we'll unpack when we talk of boundaries. But I think that we need to put our family in the same, maybe not in the same basket as friends, because I understand that blood is thicker than water, and those family relationships are very strong. And even to this day, I will tell you that I love every single member of my family, but in loving them, I've had to decide what is healthy, what is a healthy relationship for us, where that relationship, what level that relationship can be at. And I don't think our family gets a free pass in that regard. You want to think quality instead of quantity. I know we all want to be liked by everyone. We all want to have, millions of friends, millions of followers, millions of people who think that we're just grand. But it just doesn't work like that when it comes right down to it. Many times you find out who your real friends are when you go through something hard in your life, when there's some kind of pain or struggle or thing that nobody really wants to be a part of unless they love you, and you tend to find out there where your true friendships are, where that quality is. And I think that we need to invest ourselves because we only have so much investment to give, so much energy, so much time, especially when we're speaking of friendships. Much of our time is taken up with, work life, family life, church life, whatever it is. Much of our time is taken up with that. And so when we talk about doing things outside of that with friends, we want to think of using that energy on the people in our lives that are those quality friends, that are those, they're, proven and steadfast and safe and trustworthy. Those are the people that we want to really invest ourselves into. And I'm not talking on a level of, there's times and there's seasons of helping people out, of helping family members, of getting down into the mess. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But, the people that we spend the majority of our time with need to be those higher quality people that we've filtered out through different things and different lenses. Make an effort on your side of things. Make an effort in the ways that you can. You don't have to do things that you're uncomfortable with to have friends. As a matter of fact, you want your friends to know the real you and to love the real you. So if you're a person who tends to be, have lots of boundless energy and be, like the Energizer bunny, you don't want to change yourself to become some calm, quiet person while you're around people so that they will think you're something different than you really are. You want to be able to be yourself and to, to show them who you really are and let them love you for who you are. But you also want to make an effort in the ways that you can. And, if you are that energy person and you're around, one of your friends, maybe even first thing in the morning, or they don't have so much energy, you want to be aware of what they, what's going on in them and maybe tone it down a little bit. Just make an effort, to be a good friend yourself and to be what you would want in a friend. Join the mess. And what I mean by that is relationships and bonds are often formed in harder circumstances or in messier circumstances. And I have had no better times with people, no better relationship builders in my life than those places where I've just been with somebody who's really going through something or just needs help cleaning their house, you want to join into somebody with their real life. And if you're going to develop real and authentic friendships, you want to let other people join in your real life. If your house is not perfectly clean when people come over, that they're your friends. Like if they're judging you because your house isn't perfectly clean, they're probably not the people that you want to hang around all the time. So when I say join the mess, I just mean that we need to get down in each other's messy if we're ever going to have real, authentic relationship. Think about the people that you live with and you're most comfortable with. The people that you're most comfortable with are usually the people that you live with because they have seen and known you through all of the ups and downs and all of the messes, and they still love you. They're still with you. So that really forms connections and bonds. Stay connected. This kind of goes without saying. If you want to have good relationships and you want to have good people in your life, you have to kind of search that out and do some filtering and deciding. I've even made lists before of who are the people in my life. Now let me kind of put these in priority order to where my energy needs to go because I only have so much to give. And then I know who I'm prioritizing staying connected with and who gets, a little less priority because maybe they don't give as much. Maybe they do tend to be like toxic or detract from my life rather than invest into it. It's not like you have to cut those people off and never speak to them. We don't have to be unkind, but we decide what is the loving best that we can do in each relationship that we have with other people. Supplies. We need people. We need friends. And, see people and even talk to people. We need to do the work to become the person that we need in our life as a friend. So if we are needing loyalty, if we are needing trust, if we are needing love, if we are needing kindness, all of those things, we need to become that, because we will attract that once we become it. Like attracts like. When it comes to relationships, like attracts like. Opposites also attract at times, and that can be interesting, but we're going to attract the things that we put out there. If we are gossipers, we're going to attract other gossipers, right? If we are people that get angry a lot, we're going to attract other people who get angry. So we just want to work on the things, the qualities in us that we want to attract in others and that we want to influence in others. Generosity. We need to really cultivate generosity and learn to give more than we take. If every person on this earth gave more than they take, we would have more than enough to go around, because we'd all be giving more than we take. So, find ways that you can contribute. Find ways that you can be a help to someone. Don't always be the one needing the help. And I know some of us just have harder lives, and so we need more help, and that's fine. But find those ways even in those seasons that you can give. Maybe it's not that you can give time, but can you give money? Maybe it's not that you can give money, but you could give encouragement. Everybody can always give encouragement. Everybody can always give a smile. And we'll talk about that too when we get to the parts about connection. Believe the best in people, because believing the worst is always just makes us critical and judgmental. It just makes us worse people. And so we want to believe the best, but when people are showing you who they are and they're just giving you their worst, you don't have to settle for that. That is not, we aren't doormats. We were not made to be doormats. We are all created equal. We all are made in the image of God, designed to be beautiful and important in our own way and have gifts in our own areas. And so we want to believe in those good things in people and encourage those out of them, and be thankful and grateful and appreciate what people bring to the table and why they were born into the world and all of those things. But if those people decide for themselves, because everyone decides for themselves what kind of person they're going to be. If someone is deciding not to be a decent person, not to be a loving person or a kind person, if they're deciding that they, want to detract from this world rather than contribute to it, we don't have to settle for that. That's not something that we have to be a part of. We have a choice, and we can, like we said before, we can choose wisely, and we can find those quality people to add to our lives that are going to be a resource to us.